All right, we are live. The debates are over. They've been over for almost a couple hours now, but I had a few stops that I had to make here in Lincoln before I could head for home. So all my stops are done, and I am getting ready to head out of town here. And so I thought, real quick, while there's a little bit of light and you can see me, I would go ahead and just add my spin on final thoughts for the day. And so I've been down here in Lincoln at the Capitol all day, listening to the floor debate for general file, which means it's the first round of debate for LB 773, which would make permitless carry constitutional carry here in Nebraska. What's up, Kingpin? And so it's the first time I've uh, ever done this. It's the first time I've ever been around and paid any attention to the actual floor debates before. So I've never even really paid that much attention on the live feeds. And so I'm learning, like I said, I'm learning as I go here, as I'm attached to NFOA. But it was, I think, a little eye opening. I don't know what I expected. I didn't know what to expect. And so, hey, it says my name is Trish Harold. That's not right. Well, you know what? We're going to leave it. That was from earlier. I was using this phone, same phone and same StreamYard account to go live on the NFOA page. So we're just going to leave it. I'm not Trish Harold. I hope you know that. But but anyway, so there was I think some filibustering going on. Every senator gets 5 minutes at a time to speak. They just put their name in the queue, and then when their name comes up, they're recognized. They get 5 minutes. Some of them took the full 5 minutes to talk. Some of them took part of the time and then yielded the rest of their time either to another senator or for some questions. And some of them, when it was their turn, they basically they abdicated. They yielded. They only took enough of their time to say they were yielding to a different senator to finish a thought, maybe from the last senator who ran out of time. They're very good. As soon as the timekeeper calls time, they shut up. They don't keep talking. And so those of us that go and testify in committee hearings could take take a cue from them and learn from that. And when our time is up, then respect the time clock. And so that was kind of cool to see. Some of the senators made some very compelling arguments. Some of the opponents of the bill made some, I don't know that I want to say compelling arguments as much as I can understand where they're coming from, if that makes sense. It won't change my mind what they said, but I understand why they said what they said, a lot of them. And so I think that's important. Um, Thanks, Vash. Yeah, I just mentioned, if you're just joining us, I am not Trish Harold. I just didn't remember to change my name. I was sitting at a red light, frantically getting this ready to go before it turned green, so I could start talking. And I forgot to do that part. I'm happy that I flipped the camera around and remembered to do that part. And so um, some of the things that some of the senators said were great. The proponents, I thought, did a remarkable job. The opponents, and a couple of them that I think they're opponents, but they may be on the fence. And this isn't even a teeter-totter moment. This is on the fence because it's an either or. They just haven't decided which side to climb down on yet. But some of those things kind of made me wonder. And part of this stems back to the committee hearing, because it was the chair of the Judiciary Committee, Steve Lathrop, who kept talking about, and he laid it out, and it made sense. People keep talking about how the cost is prohibitive. Well, if the cost is the problem, then let's keep the permit system in place and just remove the cost and then make it to where there's free training. Now, that's got its own whole long list of reasons why I don't like it. Number one, it's not constitutional carry. I still have to gain permission from my masters in order to put my coat over my legally owned and legally possessed and legally carried handgun. If I can open carry it without a permit, I should be able to conceal carry it without a permit. And I also, there's no such thing as free training, because unless you're going to hold an instructor at gunpoint and force them to give a training class without any compensation, it's got to be paid for by the state, and nothing that the state pays for is free. That is you and me and our tax dollars as Nebraskans. That's what that goes to. Or that's who that comes from. There's no such thing as free when it's government funded or state funded. So tell me another one, Senator. But that was some of the stuff that was kicked around. So what Senator Lathrop went on to say is, if the objection is the cost, then removing the cost would be a great compromise, and we can go ahead and move forward with this. If the objection is to the permit itself, and I shouldn't have to have a permit in order to exercise my right to carry concealed, then, as he said, there's really no compromise to be made. There's no middle ground to be found there. And he's right. And that is precisely what the bill is about, and what we want as Nebraskans is remove the need for a permit. Don't just make it free. That is prohibitive. That is a factor. But the big issue here is the fact that I don't have to get mandatory training or pay for a permit to exercise any of my other freedoms as listed in the Bill of Rights or any other amendments of the Constitution. And that water a lot of them tried to muddy that water quite a bit. There was one senator who is a very, very good friend to Nebraska gun owners, just as a whole. I'm not saying he's a good friend to NFOA. I believe he might be, but he's a great friend just overall to gun owners here in Nebraska. And that's Senator Ben Hansen. And Senator Ben, there's two Hansens, Ben and Matt. So I have to say Ben because I don't want to say the wrong one. But Senator Ben Hansen gets it. He understands that there is no such thing as any other right that requires a permit or mandatory training before it is exercised. And he said that repeatedly, but invariably there was an or an opponent of the bill who came up next in the queue and just tried to eviscerate everything that Senator Ben Hansen had to say every time it was his turn to speak. So if you know Senator Ben Hansen, and I don't even remember now, and I'm driving, I can't look it up to tell you which district or where he's from. But if you're in his district or if you know him, please just tell him that I said thanks, just personally, and on behalf of NFOA, but just me personally as well. Thank you, Senator Ben Hansen, for your comments. Senator Halloran had a few good comments. Senator Clements had good stuff to say. Of course, Senator Brewer had a lot of good stuff to say. This is his priority bill. And I know there were others that it escapes me now. It's kind of been a long day, and I was not taking the notes. Defense Dad Hunt needs to be called out. I tell you what, now that I'm speaking as me, and this is not an NFOA feed, Megan Hunt can pull her bottom lip over her head and swallow. I missed it. I actually had to run downstairs and meet Travis P11. He stopped by and wasn't going to go find a parking space and come in, but he made me some dummy rounds. So when I do a training class, I can actually show what ammo looks like and point out the components without actually having live ammo in a classroom, which is something I don't want to do. You can never be too cautious. So I don't want to just pass around a live round and then have somebody figure out how to pop that into one of the firearms that's there for demonstration. So we just about got somebody that decided they wanted to merge without their blinker and just come on in. So anyway, that's the reason I had to run downstairs, down 3 flights of steps real quick to meet Travis. And then my not in shape butt had to, I didn't run, but I walked back up 3 flights of steps with my dummy rounds, just a case and a bullet, no primer, no powder. And that's not illegal. It's not illegal to have ammo in the Capitol. Open carry is legal in the Capitol, so that's no problem. But that was what was happening. So the reason I said all that, I didn't hear Megan Hunt say this, but apparently she referred to everyone in the balcony who there was a mix of people in the balcony, mind you. I don't know who they all were. I know at one point the lady with the T-shirt that said "Guns Kill Kids" was sitting not far from us in the same balcony. So I don't know if she was up there when this happened or not. But Megan Hunt referred to the folks watching from the balcony as white supremacists. So Megan Hunt, you can go take a short walk off a tall cliff for all I care, if that's the way you're going to talk, and you're not going to think before you say stuff. The stupid, just drivel, just BS that just plops out of that woman's mouth is astounding. Those of you who aren't in Nebraska, just imagine Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but ugly and fat. You kind of get the picture. So just imagine a bovine-esque person having the floor, and just again what comes out of the south end of a northbound cow just freely flowing out of her mouth, because that's most of what came out. Yeah, if anybody didn't know, I'm not a fan of the woman. She's never been a friend to anyone in Nebraska who owns a firearm, despite what she might have you believe. And so she thinks that it's perfectly okay to support the Second Amendment and still put restrictions on our rights and pick and choose who gets to exercise rights and who doesn't, and how they exercise them and with what tools they defend themselves. She wants to put some limitations on that, because she doesn't think that you should have whatever tool at your disposal that you choose to do the job in the best way, in the manner in which you choose to do it. So clearly she knows more than you do about what's good for you. I guess that's what she thinks. So hey, Agorizer, yep, I know everybody's been saying it, but I just forgot to switch the name before I went live here, and I'm driving, and I'm not going to do it now. And I'm not going to pull over because it's been a long day and I want to go home. So that's what's happening. Megan Hunt, we are not white supremacists. In fact, it was funny when I got back up to the gallery. I was sitting next to one person of color, and we have a person of color leading our organization. I don't know if you know that, Megan Hunt, because she doesn't have a super dark complexion, but Trish Harold is who says I am. The real Trish Harold is first generation Argentinian here in this country. Her parents are immigrants, and they came from Argentina. She is a Latin American by birth, and so she took a little offense to that, being called a white supremacist when she's neither white nor a supremacist. Now I'm white, and I guess as far as supremacy goes, I don't think that I'm better than anybody else, with the possible exception of that bovine who was dribbling fecal matter, just freely flowing it out of her mouth down there, Senator Megan Hunt. I do think I'm better than her, because I think that she is a complete nitwit and a moron. And I think, honestly, if we're going to start requiring permits and mandatory training in order to exercise a right, then I think the first thing we do is need to slap her with a mandate to get some training, to have a permit before she can open her mouth and talk, because her First Amendment right needs to be regulated. The way that she abuses the right, especially, is just completely reprehensible and downright embarrassing as a Nebraskan. I cannot believe that we have that kind of person in our legislative body to begin with. Everybody else that has bad things to say at least understands diplomacy and knows how to sugarcoat it. And maybe that's not necessarily a good thing, but Megan Hunt just doesn't have any tact or any, as far as I can tell, to conduct herself on the Senate floor. She really should should take a long hard look at her. I think she had you know what? Screw it. No, I don't care. So she looks like a woman. She presents as a woman. And if it looks and quacks like a duck, I call it a duck, whether or not it's a teal or a mallard. Maybe it's some other kind of waterfowl. I don't care. So fired up. Thanks, Defense Dad, for getting me fired up. I'm a few miles away from, about a mile away from running out of signal. I don't know. Maybe I'm roboting now. So I'm just going to say for the debate's not over. They've got about an hour and a half tomorrow before they can call for a vote. If you want the updates all day long, go over to the NFOA Facebook and YouTube pages and get the updates from there. See if Trish has some time next week. It'll have to be next week. It'll have to be after Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday, to maybe do a live recap real quick. We'll see if we can get that done. No promises. But in the meantime, I got to go because I'm about to run out of signal. So I love you guys. God bless you. Everybody be safe. And if you're a Nebraskan, please call those senators, email those senators, tell them why it's important that we don't have to ask permission to exercise a right. All right. Good night, y'all.